So I am coming on here because God has laid it on my heart to share a dream that I had that he interpreted. And it's a message that I believe that he wants many to hear, and he wants many to take heed to. This is something that I've never done before, getting on here, making a video. But this has nothing to do with me. This has everything to do with the message that he wants to share. And so I'm just going to share a dream that I had, and I just trust that it'll reach whoever he wants to reach it to reach. And so the other night I had a dream that I was in my home and I was shutting down the house for the night. So I was going through, I was turning all the lights off, and closing the blinds and things like that, just preparing the house to go to bed. And so my house though was located on a property with it's like a farmland, and there are a whole lot of other different houses and properties on the land. And there was one guy that owned the land, right, and all the houses that were on the land. And he actually, his house was located directly behind my house. And so as I'm going through and I'm shutting down the house for the night, I look through the back window to the backyard, which is where his house was located. And I see all of these people flocking to his house. And they're like, partying and screaming and yelling. And he has like a pool house, and a lot of them are piling in there. And it's just like droves of people just flocking in for this party. And I spot him way in the back, like towards the back of his yard. And through all of these people, this crowd of people, I saw him looking directly at me. He was just staring at me, standing there with this ominous stare, paying no attention to the people, all the people that were coming to him, to his house. And the stare that he had was I wasn't afraid, but I felt threatened, and I felt like he wanted to do me harm and danger. And this was the landlord. This was, again, the person that owned all the properties on the land and the land. And I knew this. And so I saw him staring at me through all of these people that were piling into his house. And I shut the blind. I go to another window. I still had a view of his backyard and him. And again, all these people piling in, he's way in the back, and he's just standing there, just staring at me. And in that moment, I felt like I needed to check the locks on my door. I needed to really just make sure that all the security measures that I put in place to protect my house were working properly. And so I began to look at the alarm and, look at the locks on the door. And, I had this this bar that goes underneath the, the handle, right? Goes underneath the handle of the door it's like a stopper, and it stops the door. If somebody's unable to unlock it, it stops them from being able to open it. And so I'm checking all these things that I have in place. And I'm noticing that bar is actually loose, right? So it wouldn't have worked. And so I began tightening that. And I wake up. And at first I didn't think much about the dream, but I I really just took an opportunity to ask God, is there, what do you, and I knew, I felt like there was more to the dream. So I asked, what is it that I need to know? And so in that moment, he begins to speak to me about the dream and what it meant. And he told me that, the guy that was standing, the landlord, represented Satan. Satan is the ruler of this world. And we are all here, right? We live here. So he has access to our life. Just like that landlord had access to my house with a key. And I knew that. But just like that, Satan has access to our lives because we live here in the world. And God proceeded to tell me that, there are so many people that are flocking to him during this time. There are so many people out in the world that are living, the way that they want to live. And the enemy is not concerned with them, right? He has his eyes on those that have separated themselves from the world, those that are true followers and believers of Christ, and those that are want nothing to do with him in this world. And so the Lord told me that the landlord represented Satan. All these people were flocking to him. He didn't care about them. He has his eyes on those that are true believers, and he's looking intently for an opportunity to trip us up. He's looking for an opportunity, a vulnerable opportunity to come in and to strike. And so God told me that it's really right now is the time that we need to armor up. Just like Ephesians 6 says, we need to make sure that we put on the full armor of God. And that means, just like in the dream, I was checking the locks and the doors and the stopper. And we need to make sure that we are in our word, we are in prayer, and that we're interceding for others. This is a time where the enemy is paying close attention to followers of Christ, and he's looking for a vulnerable moment to sneak in. And so through that dream, again, God is just speaking loudly about us being intentional about staying close to him and staying in his word and putting on the full armor that he provides for us for protection. And it's just so interesting how every detail in that dream really reflects reality. It's like just like the landlord again has full access he had full access to the house and to the land. It's like Satan has access to our lives, and he is the ruler of this world, and he has his eyes on us. He is paying attention to our fears and our worries and the things that we try to control. He's paying attention to all of that, and he's looking for an opportunity to strike. And so again, this message really is just a message that we have to pay attention, and we have to stay aware and alert. And and so that's the message. And again, I don't claim to be anything. I just am a follower of Christ, and I believe that we are in the end times. And I do believe that God is speaking every day, and this is something that he's shared with me, and it's my responsibility to share it because he's laid it on my heart too. So I'm just being obedient. And so that's what I have.